Hi, this is Kate Northrup, author of Money, a Love Story, Untangle Your Financial Woes and Create the Life You Really Want. And I'm here with my friend Leanne Grechulk, asking her about her money love story. As part of the launch of this book, I'm sharing the money love stories of people I know, love, and respect. So Leanne is a wellness entrepreneur. She is a business leader in lifestyle and leadership. She started a company in Canada called Healthy Girl, and she has gone on to build a six-figure income with USANA Health Sciences, which is how we know each other, and just really become a speaker and a beacon of being an amazing woman who rocks her life. And she's a brand new mama, she just got married, like lots of exciting things. So
well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. This is super exciting.
My pleasure.
So I'd love to know, to start out with, what did you learn about money growing up, and what did you witness in your household as a child around money?
I think I would say the patterns that I saw and that I learned was really work hard for money, and be very disciplined and be very scheduled, not necessarily do something you love, but do something that you know can bring in a good income, get a good job, go to school, and just stick with it. Make it happen. So.
And then as you grew up and left home and maybe went to university, and I don't know if you did that, but I don't want to assume, and then went off to get your first job and everything, how did that impact you in through your 20s?
Well, I think I always knew there was something not working, because even with my summer jobs in high school, I always felt that this just doesn't seem fulfilling. And I worked in a bank, I worked in a travel center, and no one really seemed that happy. But by day 3, I would always be like, oh my goodness, this is so scheduled, and it just didn't feel like me. But I couldn't point what it was, and also every person I knew was doing it, so I just thought, this is what you're supposed to do.
Life.
Yeah. So that stayed with me, I would say, for about a decade. Of working until my 4th job. I had an amazing mentor in corporate who said, did you ever think that maybe corporate isn't for you? Like maybe you should look at something that you have more personal power over, like becoming an entrepreneur. And I was like,
Had that ever occurred to you before?
Never. Because I didn't have really any entrepreneurs around me. Everybody I knew had sort of a corporate upbringing, and get a good job, work hard, who cares if you love it? Just do it. So that's all I knew. So it was foreign to me, and even nobody I knew was an entrepreneur. So it was scary a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. So transitioning from that corporate world and having a steady paycheck and stuff to moving into building a USANA business and building some other things, what were some of the challenges around money that you encountered?
I think probably one of the challenges was that I didn't realize I had a pattern. I was good with money, but I had a pattern of spending exactly what I made.
Very common.
So I never got ahead, but I didn't have a lot of debt.
Interesting.
But I didn't understand, I wasn't self-aware of why it was happening, and I always got stuck there, and I just kept going, and the more I made, the more I spent. But when I was 29, I had a divorce, and I remember having a fear of, what if I can't take care of myself? Even though I had a great job, I was good with money, but there was still that underlying fear of, what if I can't thrive on my own? So for me, that was really my challenge. I was up for the challenge of trying to figure it out. But I was aware at that time that my pattern was spending whatever I made. So I was always, making a 6-figure income, but spending about that. So I was never really, I was like, I asked a lot of my friends, like, how are you guys getting ahead? And they were like, we're just using credit cards. We're not necessarily getting ahead,
common solution.
but we have a lot of stuff.
And it can look like somebody's getting ahead.
Yes, totally.
But it's like smoke and mirrors when it's all on credit. Now, have you ever connected that tendency to spend exactly what you make with anything emotional or any beliefs or anything like that?
Absolutely.
What came up around that?
I totally believe that self-confidence and income are related. Relationships and how we manage money, for sure, especially for women. I think there's a big relationship with that. So I was pretty aware that, some of the beliefs people don't talk about, like, what if I'm more successful? I think I could be more successful, but what if my life changes too much? or what if my relationships change?
Right.
And I think I had a bit of a fear around that too, which is why I sort of like to keep things as they were.
Yeah.
And that was one of the great things about starting a youth sauna business. It's like, just see what happens. You know, just do it. And if you have that problem, I had a great mentor who said, make that problem happen, and then I'll help you through that.
Cool.
So she gave me permission. She's like, make a, $300,000 to $400,000 a year, and I'll help you with integrating. I was like, okay. So it was very linear for me. Yeah.
Advice.
So I was like, that's all I have to focus on is make that happen.
Okay, so as you're listening, any goal you have that you've got some mishigas going on around, like, what if people don't like me anymore? What if I end up alone? What if my life changes? What if it's too complicated?
Yeah.
Make that happen, and then you can find the resources that you need.
Yeah.
That's really
and
good
the
stuff.
the other pivotal moment for me was I had a couple hours with Bob Proctor.
Oh, cool.
And he really brought me down to a bit of a humbleness where I thought I was doing really well for my age, having a great corporate job and a good salary. And his question was, what is the most you've ever made? And I told him my income, and he said, why is that all you've ever made? Don't you feel your leadership and self-worth should be making you more?
Whoa.
And I was like, yes. But it was the first time that I had that question. So he just made me think differently. Like he said, I know people your age who are making 10 times as much as you are, not by working harder.
Cool.
But working on themselves more and building their inner confidence and stepping into their power. So that was when I opened the door to.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now for you, what does money mean in your life? Why is it, you are very successful. I know you're incredibly ambitious. Before we started rolling the camera, we were both talking about like how we just so want to do lots of things. And, Leanne just had a baby and, it changes things a little bit. But what is that drives you to make money?
Well, I've never chased money, and my husband who's in the room will tell you that I don't like stuff. I actually don't like accumulating stuff. Yeah. It makes me feel like I don't have space around me.
Yeah.
So I like to get rid of things, maybe to an OCD level. But this is what I think for myself and what I teach as well is get your own shit together when it comes to finances so you can go out there and impact the world. Yeah. And I find that most people spend their whole life getting their own shit together, and they never serve on a global scale. Yeah. So that was my personal challenge, to get it together so that when I had a family, and also I'm just one of those people, like, I want to walk it out first so I can teach it.
Totally.
So that was my personal challenge. It's not to buy things, but I just feel like, you can just contribute to a greater extent. And for my kids, I want to be able to teach them that there is no limits.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I love that. Yeah. So for you, newly married, new mom, rockin' business, what's the growth edge for you now? What's the next place there you want to head with money?
Well, for me, I think it's really, having a family goal of, some of the things that we want to do. We want a global lifestyle. Cool. So obviously we want to make sure our income can give our kids the most amazing global lifestyle ever, but also getting more into contributing. And more into partnering with some charities that are really important to us, helping kids, and at some point I would really love to have my own charity. So that's what keeps me motivated to learn more and bring myself to the next level.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure.
Yeah. If you want to know more about Leanne, visit leannegrechulk.com, and she's written a fabulous book called 30 Days to Wealth, which I highly recommend. It's right in line with what we're talking about today.
It is.
She really does walk the walk and know what she's talking about. And if you want to hear more money love stories and buy the book, Money a Love Story, go to moneyalovestory.com, and you can buy the book there and get free access to a 2-hour live online event I'm doing called A Course in Having Enough, and I'll be joined by guest experts Marianne Williamson, Barbara Stanny, and Amanda Steinberg, who founded dailyworth.com. So go to moneyalovestory.com, and thank you, Leanne, for coming.
My pleasure, and thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.